320 feet quarter-mile racetrack. Now, just what are these four categories all about? What's involved in modified class?
Biggest cars are modified categories. It's a completely modified car. Anything goes on the engine, anything goes in the body and the interior. These cars are fully modified. They are capable of the highest speed.
Qualities for the super street cars are partially modified V8s and fully modified Jeeps, but
they still have to require a full interior. They still have to be street worthy. In other words, they have to be able to travel on the street. And they are usually a pretty openly modified engine. They are allowed they are taken a few restrictions, such as carburation, the way they're inducted, and the exhaust systems and stuff, and what they can handle on that.
And a car that qualifies for super stock
is a car that is normally a stock car, but they're allowed to modify the engines within the limits of what we have by most of the speed shops around here. A lot of the speed shops can supply us parts and stuff for these stock cars, and the main restriction we have in the stock cars is they have to be a full interior and they have to be as close to stock as possible without any major modifications of the engine. Okay? This is where most of our cars are fitting into right now.
And the last category today.
The next one we have down that is usually a pure stock category, but we don't have many that can fit in the pure stock category around here because most of the cars that make it stock over here come over here from the United States, and by the time they get over here, they're pretty well modified anyway. So we've called the cheater class, where they're allowed some modifications, just a few.
And how do these guys even out the competition?
Right now, the current handicap system is physical meters, where we physically distance handicap each of the cars by several to 20 or 30 meters in some cases. Most of our drivers like to go by car lengths in most cases. About 20 to 30 feet is a car length. After we handicap them on a distance, then each of the cars are matched up against each other, and we try and match our racers as evenly as possible.
Okay. How about the basic rules for today's event?
The racing course goes a double elimination round. Each racer is matched against the other racer as closely as possible to his letter category. He's given a small handicap according to his letter category if it's necessary. Then they run a 2 out of 3 run. The best 2 out of the 3 runs, the driver will advance on to the second elimination category. After we get that category done, then he advances down to the third category until finally we get down to a winner. Some races, this could be end up to about between 15 and 20 races usually before we come down to a winner in each category.
Thanks. And this crowd gathered by the dragway eagerly awaiting official action. We spoke to some of the competitors among this colorfully animated pool of participants. Superstock entry Dale Whitney from Anchorage, Alaska had this to say about today's event.
Well, it's a very, very nice place. The people are awfully nice. I've had more fun and met more nice Filipino people than I ever have in Alaska. I think this will build into a very substantial racing facility because you have a perfect site here. You know, you've got all the shut-off area and staging area, and you've got most of the Americans that are stayed over here, and Germans and Swedes, and you know, there's all nations are racing out here, and the Philippine racers are really starting to come in now. We're getting a very good following from the Filipinos.
And Dale on the competition.
Well, you got Ken and John, and then Big Al. Those are the 3 top runners today. And the rest of us are here just for fun, but those guys are out for blood.
And what does the #1 rated dragster have to say about all that?
I just want to go out there and win. Go fast. Don't break anything.
Ken's nemesis in the modified class, Norway's Tor Haugen on strategy.
I'm not quite sure, you know. It's a secret. It would be nice to win, you know, but you can never tell, you know. There's a lot of sneaky guys around here, you know.
Modified entry Big Al Swafford tells us the story behind his baby, blown crazy.
Well, we've lost a couple motors in it. They've blown them up. And after a couple times of doing that, the expense and this and that, took me a couple weeks to get over it.
How many engines actually it has blown?
This is the 3rd one. So that's it, blown crazy. That's what it did to me for a while, you know.
And just what do these dragsters have to go through for today's race? Thin John Rizia sums it up.
Oh man, Lots of hard work. We worked on one Camaro up to 4 o'clock yesterday just to have it participate today. After building an engine last week, running into problems, taking it all apart to the machine shop, assembling it, back on the run stand, take it off the run stand and put it in the car. Had it fired up by 4:30 yesterday just to have it out here for practice at 5 o'clock.
And Superstock entry and one of the few Pinoys racing here today, Pampanga's Nelson Pamintuan.
Siyempre, every racer, ganun. Gusto niya manalo. So, you're out here to race and you're out here to win.
One tends to wonder just how fast these hot rods go for the kill. So let's take you on a little ride on Ken Kemper's fully modified 69 Camaro. What a rush, huh? Okay, now let's really burn some rubber. First, in the Superstock category, on the starting line, we saw Monina Stenland in a red 72 Pontiac Trans Am versus Alec Manson's in a 73 Pontiac Firebird, amply dubbed Lollipop. And both cars took off, ripping the track side by side. But Alex was first to cross the line by a hair. In the second run, Alex reasserted his dominance over Monina to ensure his bid for the championship. Next up was John Adrian in a blue Pontiac convertible against Ole Pedersen, driving a white and red checkerboard 72 Pontiac Firebird. John sped off to a good start, leaving Ole by a good 2 meters, and crossed the line first. Likewise, John prevailed over Ole in the second run, taking him at the last minute to take this one. Next, we saw Gene Marksbury in a blue Chevy pickup, pitted against Dale Whitney in a V8-powered bronze Jeep. Gene gave Dale a 10-meter advantage that seemed like a sure win for Dale, but Gene's monster of a pickup proved to be a monster indeed as he ate up Dale's lead to take the finish. He went on to do the same the second heat, taking Dale early, cruising through the stretch for the win. Eventually, Alex Manson took on Gene Marksbury, with Alex in his Velvet Vicious Lollipop winning over Gene to become champion in this event. In the cheaters class, we saw Ernie Moreno in a 95 Mitsubishi Lancer up against Boy Alberto's 65 Ford Mustang. Boy gave Ernie a 30-meter advantage as they sped off for the first run. Boy pressed hard on the gas to close the gap, but Ernie simply held his ground to make it first across the finish. Now switching lanes for the second heat, Boy's cars seemed to develop car trouble as Ernie held on to win top honors in this class. Now, into the championship round of the Super Street class. Ernie Pamintuan in a 76 Toyota gave Nolly San Agustin in a 74 Sprinter a 10-meter plus as they sped off in a head-to-head battle. But Ernie's Toyota proved to be tougher through the stretch as Ernie zoomed past the finish to take this one. And with tension up in the second run, Ernie took on a sudden burst of speed, whisking past Nolly very early in the race and crossed the line to take the title in this class.
Well, okay naman yung kalaban. Maganda rin yung makina niya. Wala namang problema. Malakas din. Kaya lang, swerte-swerte lang. Swertihan lang natin yun.
When all was said and done in the elimination rounds of the centerpiece modified class, we saw number 1 seed Ken Kepner in a souped-up 69 Chevy Camaro pitted against Tor Haugen's 67 Chevy Camaro in the championship. In the first heat, Ken took the right lane and Tor took the left, and on the light, both cars burned rubber, with Ken bursting past Tor by a car's length into the stretch and led all the way to the finish to take this heat. Now all gassed up for heat number 2. Ken skinned those slicks mercilessly, taking off for a good start and floored it down to his car's limit as he broke away from Tor into the stretch and well past the finish to successfully defend his title in this class. Today's biggest winner, Ken Kepner.
Well, I came out top winner again, but there's a lot of luck to it and there was a lot of hard work in it also. But you know, we had a lot of guys that were really busting their tails on their car, getting them ready for this race. And my car's just been sitting around because I've been working with CDC for this strip here. So I hadn't had a lot of time to work on my car, and I've been working the bugs out today, so it was hard for me also.
Well, that's all we have for today. Let's see you in the next race.
The Race of the Week has been brought to you by
Marlboro,